Absolutely. There's a run on the bank already at Credit Suisse because what was Credit Suisse? It was over-levered bank. What was FTX? An over-levered exchange, unregulated, centralized. They were making their own markets. Sang Bankman-Fried was a prop desk. He was making his own market for cryptos. That's what prop desks used to do at the big banks. And what else was he doing? He was using leverage. That's what every bank, it's that addiction. They can't stop themselves. Turn the leverage on. And he was also misusing client money. That's what banks do every day. They leverage client money, and they're, at least commercial banks are more regulated than the FTX. But look at the sins of Deutsche Bank or Credit Suisse or the derivatives market, or look at their notional value of their derivatives exposure. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. And the notion is that, if we're all crossing the street at the same time, we can't get hurt. That was the big illusion. But there's counterparty risk and all these things. And again, not gloom and doom. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of every bank. It doesn't mean you're never going to go to an ATM and get your money. But I tell you, it's the end of paper money with any real value. It's the end of the inherent purchasing power of your currency. And as the IMF has already telegraphed, there's going to be a central bank digital currency that won't be orderly. But what that will be, and this is the most disconcerting, what it will be is very monitoring and centralizing of your life, of your personal and private life. And this is the theme, I think, that doesn't get talked about enough, because market guys like me who worked in hedge funds or banks, the ones that were always most interesting to me were the guys who didn't study finance in college or grad school or just economics. They studied history or philosophy or literature, because if you study history and philosophy at the same time that you study markets, you realize the patterns are so easy to see. And throughout history, again, throughout history, without exception, when you have a debt crisis of this level, it always leads to a financial crisis, which leads to a political crisis, which leads to a currency crisis. And then that leads to social unrest. And then social unrest leads to extreme centralized control from either the extreme left, or the extreme right. And that's what we're seeing all over the world right now, from China to DC, whether it's the extreme left or the extreme right. You're seeing a desire to have more and more control over the citizens, because governments are afraid of pitchforks. And so because they're afraid of pitchforks, they'll come up with lies, blame it on COVID or blame it on a bad guy out east, but don't blame it on us. We're here to help you, as we've just taken all this money and given it the top 10%. And I think what they're trying to do now is control the narrative and control the people. And a centralized digital currency means every dollar you spend could be turned on or off like a lamp if they don't like what you're writing or what you're interviewing or what you're saying or where you're going or what you're doing. That's just another form of control masquerading as support or as a solution. The idea, every solution that comes out of a central bank, as Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, and many others have warned, is never a solution. It's a poison. It kills the system from within. And so this newest solution, a central bank digital currency, is just what? It's just another lie. It's just another fiat currency now with blockchain technology as opposed to printed out. But it's going to have some basis in gold, some partial coverage in gold to have any credibility. So I think more and more citizens of the world are catching on that printing money, whether it's printed on a mouse click at a central bank or on a digital currency at the IMF or elsewhere, isn't real money. And I think it'll be very disorderly. I think we've already entered since 2020, since the massive Fed unlimited QE, since 2020, since the COVID policy, the COVID reaction, the COVID narrative. And now what we're heading into is a seismic shift in our personal freedoms, in our personal lives and our financial lives, but also in the markets. We're heading into some real recessionary pain in the 23. I think by 24, we'll see central bank digital currencies, I think within 2 years. Things are happening so fast right now, so fast. And again, sounds very dramatic, but most of us are talking about this off the scene, so to speak. Guys I know who run lots of money for hedge funds, they're more cynical than I am, but they know how to trade, they know how to arbitrage, they know how to reverse lever. So they can make money in this volatility if they're good. Most of them are just levered and not that good, but they all have the same cynicism about the macro view and about the central banks. We are in a situation here that doesn't have an easy solution. Again, Anthony, you can always save any market. You can always print money to save the market, but you will always risk the currency by doing so. So there you have it. You either have a dead currency or a dead market. You can't have one of the, you can't save them both. And to me, they're going to choose to kill the currency, blame it on COVID and Putin, and start over.